Good morning, Martin in the Philippines, and we're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So let's get right to it. Challenge of the day. Challenge of the day: time management. So, practical tip for time management. I could only top of mind think of one right now. What has helped me personally with time management? And again, those watching the live and the replay, feel free to comment in the chat below on what has helped you for this challenge of time management. So, what has helped me for time management, just to keep it very practical, is the use of a calendar app. So, I I know people who actually have a printed calendar, a planner like that, but I just started experimenting with the calendar app on my phone because that's the one most accessible to me. So for time management, let's say like today, I just put there the things to do, the most critical ones for today. Tomorrow, maybe it's only one thing. So it doesn't have to be too overwhelming or grand, but start with something simple. Even just one thing today that I have to do. So my day is pretty much like that, and then it helps me a lot with the time management. It also feels good when after I do something in my calendar app, I also put a check mark, or it's kind of like an achievement unlock. Like it feels good to actually check it off the list. So that helps me with time management. It also gives me like a mission or a direction for the day to do that. Now, you don't have to be too hard on yourself. I have days that are blank actually. So you just start with what we have for now. Now, it's kind of ironic because the person who shared this challenge, I also recently saw a live interview. I believe it was just a few days ago, and I took down notes. So the person actually shared an answer for themselves, which is I found interesting. I mean, this person's actually giving answers for themselves. So the notes I took down from this person's live interview was in relation to time management. I'm just connecting the dots here. Stop finding and start creating. So stop finding and start creating. So what's an example of that? If people don't really get what that means, it's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I could really think a lot of things, and maybe some of you could relate. Should I do this? Should I make this live? Should I create this content? What if I don't look good? Like, I have a t-shirt and it's got holes in it. Like, will people even watch this? Like that. So that's stop finding like the perfect opportunity, the perfect time for it. Start creating means, you know, I'm actually just gonna go for it. I'm gonna dive into it. I'm gonna do it. So that's that's how I understand it. Now here's another tip. That's actually the answer to time management. This is just a bonus. So here are other bonus notes that I wrote down. Once I had clarity. So some people might be challenged by going stop finding and start creating, but I don't even know what to create. Well, that's where we got to start. We got to start with clarity first. So, to be fair, to provide some context, that person who shared that went through a process where that person had to get clarity first. And I could relate. I could relate to that. I have a very hard time doing something that I have no idea what to do. So, what's another practical tip right after that, which I took down notes? It says, one of the lines that hit me was having a coach. They brought me to a different level of awareness. They make you realize things. So this is something I can also relate because back in 2014, and I was really lost. It really started with a mentor. That's my term. Actually, it was like a totally random stranger who I ended up looking up to because that person's advice pretty much saved my life. It started there. Then the clarity starts to form over time. It's 2021, and you could go, hey, Martin, do you have clarity right now? No, I'm still figuring it out, actually. So you don't have to be that like super on point perfect, you know, like a LeBron James who discovered basketball, or an artist like a prodigy. You have your own version of yourself. And then the last line on the notes I took, which I found helpful, was this: all is gift. Everything that I've been through, from the ugly parts to the most beautiful parts. When you finally come to a point where you're accepting everything that happened in your life, how you are evolving, I knew I was waking up. That was it. So, an application of that line, very powerful, is when I do a live like this, sometimes you feel like you come to a point where, you know what, I'm just gonna share parts of my life. This is my evolution, this is my journey, this is my life, and I'm just sharing it out there. So, going back to the challenge of the day of time management, you could start with something as practical as a calendar app, and then you could just stop finding and start creating. The next practical tip again that hit me was finding a coach, a mentor, or someone you can learn from. Speaking of, so I'll end the live with this. Comment deep dive down below if you want that last free deep dive call. It's a one-on-one call with me, something more in depth, kind of related to what was shared about having a coach or having someone to help you realize things for yourself. It'll be longer than this live. We're gonna go more in depth, deeper. It's safe over Zoom. You get to share your biggest challenge in your life right now. I get to listen to you, and then we get to dig deeper. Maybe find some clarity, answers, the truth, something that would help you. So thank you. I love you, and I will see you next time.